And Bruce Hawker is at the DNC convention. I spoke to him a little earlier. Bruce Hawker, thank you very much for joining us. Let me start with the actual moment. Hillary Clinton was nominated this morning, our time here. Obviously, rapturous applause amongst her supporters, but there was some small protest at that moment as well.
A very small one, David. Overwhelmingly a moment of great excitement and I think history that people realise they were part of. So any signs of that disunity have really, to all intents and purposes, now disappeared.
And Bernie Sanders, for his part, do you think he's done all he can to help with that unity?
Yeah, I think he has. I think he's made a magnificent speech last night. He intervened in the counting of the votes this evening, and when it came to Vermont, his own state's turn to declare, and he said, let's stop the count now and declare Hillary Clinton the nominee for the presidency for the Democratic Party. He has really fallen in behind her. There's always going to be a few people who are going to be dissenters and outsiders and anti-ists. Are a very, very small minority here tonight, David. There's a lot of excitement in the air. People realise that they were part of history this evening, and that's the real sense that you get from the occasion.
Now, the difference between the Republican convention and this Democrats convention, I suppose, is the number of party heavyweights who are there on hand for Hillary Clinton, unlike those who stayed away at the Republican convention. Tonight it was Bill Clinton's turn. Former president, husband of Hillary Clinton, of course, no stranger to that stage, but the speech he gave, I guess, was different to those we've heard from him before, very much all about Hillary Clinton, her life story. But then in the end, I thought really interesting, the contrast that he drew between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump.
Yeah, that was what it all came up to at the end. You know, there are two portrayals of Hillary Clinton. Which one do you believe? The lies from the Trump camp, or everything you've seen tonight and heard from people who are giving personal anecdotes and commendations to her for the support that she's given them. And by golly, David, there were a lot. There were 35 or more people who came to the podium at some stage in the last 4 hours to tell a story about the way in which Hillary Clinton has impacted on their lives. You know, from first responders to people with disabilities to people who were caught in 9/11 with terrible, ghastly injuries, through to her own husband. And of course, you know, greats like Madeleine Albright and very significant political figures like Howard Dean. So, well, we were left in no doubt tonight that, as Bill Clinton said, what you see in Hillary Clinton is the greatest change maker that he'd ever known. And that was really the clincher for his speech, the greatest change maker for the better that he's ever known.
And look, he did seem to take on some of the ideas that Donald Trump clearly sees as his strengths, whether it's building a wall with Mexico, restricting Muslim immigration as well. Bill Clinton spoke about Muslims, he spoke about immigrants, he spoke about African Americans as well, clearly wanting to reach out to all as an asset for Hillary Clinton.
Oh, sure. And this is what comes out really strongly in this convention. You know, the groups in American society who are being targeted now for support, particularly women. I mean, women dominated this evening's proceedings, there's been no doubt about that. And it was the Hillary show, of course, once she was nominated. But it was a real pitch to women, you know, right down to the choice of the entertainment. Alicia Keys has just finished performing for the crowd. It was a very strong female focus, a very strong African-American focus, and of course a very, very big focus on Latino votes. Now, they've got to vote in large numbers for Hillary Clinton, and as one leading Hispanic political figure said to me just 2 days ago, Donald Trump is the great unifier for Latino American voters. He has done more to bring them together to make them determined to vote than any other political leader in the history of politics in the United States. That was his candid view about it. So we've got to remember, this is what this has got to be all about now, how they get out the vote, make sure that women vote particularly, because they're a counter to the angry white male vote out there. and that all these minorities and people with disabilities and who have been adversely commented on by Trump get out and vote. It's all about getting out the vote.
What about the controversy over the leaked DNC emails, the revelations that the then party chair, Wasserman Schultz, tipped the scales in favour of Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders? Have things died down there at all a bit about that? Because obviously it sparked quite a bit of anger and led to her resignation.
Yeah, there was a lot of anger, I think, or a bit of anger in the crowd, and certainly amongst protesters outside the convention yesterday. I've seen that markedly dissipate this evening now that a decision's been made as to who the nominee is going to be. And of course, another element has come into this whole issue now, and that's been confirmed in reports in American media tonight, that the finger is being pointed at the Russians for being the source of the leak. And then, of course, the question then becomes, well, how did it get out? Was it a WikiLeaks, Julian Assange type thing, or are there other people involved in this exercise as well? This could turn rather ugly for the Trump camp if it looks like there's been some sort of involvement along the way by people associated with them. Nothing definite said about that at the moment, but you can see that's where some of the thinking is now starting to trend.
Well, Bruce, thank you for that, and we look forward to talking to you tomorrow night. We'll have heard from Barack Obama by then, the president himself. So we'll catch up then. Thanks so much.
Look forward to it.